So recently, the DNC voted unanimously to stop taking money from fossil fuel companies. Now, as I explained during that segment, only a small amount of money, about 10% of oil spending from just oil and gas goes to Democrats. For coal, it's 100%, which explains why, of course, the Republican Party absolutely loves coal. So I think in the larger context, the move was essentially useless, right? Oh, no, we're going to ban fossil fuels because, or we're going to ban fossil fuel lobbying because we take all this money from fossil fuels. No, you don't. You don't take money from fossil fuels. This is basically like, I don't know. I'm going to come up with some sort of really bad comparison, so I'll skip that. Look, the reason that I bring this up, though, is because there are still some Democrats out there. About 10% of that money still goes to Democrats. And I'm going to show you an example of that, and also an example of just general corporate lobbying. For that, we go to New Mexico. Now, in New Mexico, there's an analysis of lobbyist expense reports that were filed in recent days with the New Mexico Secretary of State's office. Now, that shows that oil companies dominate the list of largest donors to campaigns and political committees since last October. Now, of course, that's not a surprise. New Mexico, and look, a lot of these states that have oil reserves have giant oil lobbyist industries. Now, the biggest contributor among lobbyists in the New Mexico reports was the Austin, Texas-based Stephen Perry. Now, that is Chevron USA's State Government Affairs Manager for Texas, New Mexico, and Oklahoma. Now, Perry gave about $183,000 in contributions, and that's actually more than a third of the total of nearly $500,000 or over $500,000 in donations listed in all the reports. Now, that just goes to New Mexico, into their elections. Now, unsurprisingly, a lot of it, about $77,000 of Chevron's money, went to conservative and oil-friendly political action committees. Now, Perry gave about $11,000 each to 579 PAC, Affordable Energy PAC, New Mexico Family First, oh, that's fun, New Mexico Forward, look at these Orwellian names, Progress New Mexico, the Republican Leadership PAC, and the Republican Campaign Committee of New Mexico. So again, notice some of those really oddly progressive-sounding names. In fact, Progress New Mexico. We're going to take all that oil money and then give it to Republicans. Lovely. Now, besides just the raw campaign contributions, lobbyists also reported spending about $38,542 on meals, drinks, and entertainments for the legislators and other politicians since October. Now, Robert Donaldson, a lobbyist for Altria, which, of course, this is another lobbyist, this is another group to add on to Perry. And by the way, Altria is the corporate parent of Philip Morris and other tobacco companies. So it's not just oil and gas, but it's also these big corporations that also harm people. Now, they were the second largest contributor. He gave about $33,500, injected that right into New Mexico politics. Now, as I said, most of that money goes to Republicans. Of course, because they're pretty much bought and paid for by all the corporations. However, there are also prominent Democrats in New Mexico that are also receiving this money. One of them is Representative Michelle Lujan Grisham. Now, she is running for governor as a Democrat, and she is taking money from all these different lobbyists, all these different corporations, including oil and gas. In fact, according to the disclosures, Michelle Lujan Grisham is the clear favorite of lobbyists who give to gubernatorial candidates. She's received about $15,600 from lobbyists since October. That's not the only thing. In addition to the campaign contributions that she has received, lobbyist Mark Duran had also thrown a luncheon for her at Sandia Pueblos Resort north of Albuquerque. Duran reported spending about $4,000 on the event, which was the largest single amount that any lobbyist reported spending on meals and entertainment. So that just shows you who these lobbyists are in favor of. Again, these lobbyists and these corporations and these different PACs, they give both to Democrats and Republicans because they hope to buy the system. Look, our country has a sickness. It's called money in politics. This is why Democrats are also not fighting aggressively on climate change. Now, there's a little bit of fight here and there. Okay, yeah, we'll go and say some things about climate change, and we'll put forward the Paris Climate Agreement, which, look, is better than what we're doing. But at the time, I remember saying it's not strong enough. It's not binding. Well, you know why it's not binding? Because there are countries that wouldn't sign it, and there's the Republican Party here wouldn't sign it because they don't believe in climate change. So we had an agreement, and of course, Donald Trump, as soon as there was a Republican president, we pulled out of that agreement, and we're actually doing worse damage to the climate now. But, so you have Democrats that aren't strong enough on the climate, and you have Republicans that are incredibly aggressive on behalf of oil companies. Also, the lobbying. That's why we can't get Medicare for all. That saves lives. Might have saved my sister's life. It's also why we can't get a living wage. It's all about the money. The money, the lobbying, the corruption is why we can't have nice things. You know? Follow the money. And now here you have a Democrat in New Mexico who takes big corporate money, even from oil and gas. She's taken $11,000 from that industry. But it's nothing in comparison to what she's taken from health insurance companies. About $156,185 from health insurance companies, $102,400 from casinos, and $41,000 from just the lobbyists themselves throughout her entire career. Look, this is the swamp. If Democrats are going to run on not being corrupt, well, then you might want to stop taking corporate and PAC money. Because any politician that continues to take that money should not get the support of the people. Because at the end of the day, they don't serve the people, they serve their donors. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.